Okay, so oops. On the previous video, I just actually currently uploading, but it should be up by the time this comes up. Just kind of mentioned some projects that's coming up after that S2000. So I guess try something different, something quick. I don't think I have a lot of time tonight to get into a bigger project such as the Normandy or the other spinner that I have. So I'm gonna go with this. These are from Zuru, I guess Max. These are like little Lego-like building kits. They're pretty small. They have so many different ones, but I like the retro series. The previous one that they had like a little, like an Apple Macintosh, like the old ones from the 80s, maybe at the 90s. Does it even go into the 90s? But definitely in the 80s, they had like an arcade, a little boombox, and was it a radio or record player? I can't remember the fourth one, but I had the Macintosh because that just brings me back, because I didn't own a Mac. I had an Apple IIe, which was before the Macintosh, but they had that similar kind of light tan colored, kind of almost ivory, like plastic, for the housing for Apple back then. So and then just the whole shape of it, it's very iconic, and it's a cool little set. And now they just put this out. This is right now, this is beginning of 2026, January. I think these are fairly new, and this is what they have now. It looks like a Game Boy kind of, handheld control game. Though I don't think they had 4 buttons. It was just 2 buttons before. So, but I think they're just trying to get the general representation of that type of style with the just a black and white, or monochromatic display screen. I know later they had a Game Boy Color, but they started and had this for the most part. And of course, the classic control pad, and probably a start and reset or select button or something, whatever these are supposed to be. I'm not sure what this little black thing would be, but then they have a little Tetra Tower. Obviously, Tetris. That's probably one of the more famous games that you could play on this for like hours. Yeah, I never actually owned one. Funny enough, I had a Nintendo, and I have a lot of game systems. For some reason, sorry, I got slightly interrupted. But anyways, what was I saying? I lost my chain of thought. Oh yeah, Game Boy. So anyways, that's the one I wanted to also find. But if all the boxes that they had, I think they just put these out at Target. I couldn't find that. Maybe a bunch of people bought these guys up, because this is probably the most popular one out of all 4 of these. But I'll see. You look at Macy's, they actually do have these, and people don't often go there to look for them. They don't really think of Macy's as a toy store, and generally the selection is not the best. But they have some stuff, and I know they've had these in the past, so I might stop by and one of them and see if they might have this guy sometime. The cassette player, which is all right. This looks pretty decent actually, but not really what I was going for. They had a lot of those. They had a lot of these, and actually the cameras. And I'm not a guitarist, so I'm not going to bother with that. But I do like owning camera gear, and shooting photography when I can. And so this is cool. This is like a rangefinder style film camera, although they do have some digital versions of these now. Most famously with Leica, which is like very expensive. Like the camera body itself, at least brand new, right? I think they're at the M bodies, the M series, and they're at the M11. They easily will be at least, I think, going up, of course, every time, but it's $8,000. And forget about not to mention the lenses. If you go with Leica lenses, they're even more expensive, just as much, if not more expensive than the camera. And a while ago, Lego put out, I don't know if it's still available, but they have this 3-in-1 system. You can make this into like I think a little TV set, and I think you can reconfigure it to be a camcorder. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool for, I think, $20 at the time. And you look at this, It looks like they're doing something similar here with this lens here. So I think it should actually end up being fairly comparable in size. This is more of a DSLR style, but they didn't quite do it correctly. One, I think this hump is a little bit short. It should be a little bit taller. This pentaprism part, where the mirror would reflect up into the viewfinder, and additionally the viewfinder is too low. It's like really down. It should be up in this area, like above, right? Because the light would go through the lens, reflect off a mirror, and go up and reflect off another, and back into the eyepiece, which should be above here, not this low. And you can actually see through this, but not too good. It's like partially, it's a weird aspect ratio in there, and also it's like, it's not the best. But also I had to rearrange some stuff. Like this is supposed to be, you know, when you're done, you will rewind the camera, not the camera, but the film, right, when it's done. Or is it this way? I guess it would be this way, because you roll back across, back this way. Once you advance it this side, like this, right, take a shot and advance it, and then right, the film go across, so forth. And I'm just showing you this. And then this comes with like a little fake film, but it's kind of cute. And I got a pair of these for my kids. It's basically about the same thing, but I had to make some mods. Like I think this was over here, or maybe these were reversed, and also this was not aimed in the right direction. They didn't quite get that thing right. This is what would happen if you, once you're done, you would pull this thing out. It'd be kind of folded in and hidden and be sticking out like this. But when you're done, then you pop it open, and then you can have the crank handle to wind it back, right? And then this would be to set your, or there will be some numbers here to set your ISO or something, or rather your shutter speed probably. Lens would control the aperture, but there's really nothing here, but you would pretend something like that. And ISO, well, that's just based on whatever film you're using. And it's about as simple as that for old film cameras. And I'm not sure what this is supposed to represent. Maybe when you're done, you use this to release the film, and then you can, I think there's like a release or something, or maybe it might be on the bottom. I forget, it's been a while. But yeah, they didn't quite have this. If you look at how this is actually made, they didn't quite do that right. Maybe at some point, I gotta look into it. I may want to try to redo this and make this part and this whole area look more correct. But you know, and then you're looking through this just to pretend you wouldn't have actually see through the camera body, or you know, like this to do your shot. You can actually look through, and it actually look through the lens, of course, not through like a opening up at the top. But this is just so kids can look through it and see something through that. I don't know if you can kind of make it out. It's pretty narrow. But anyways, it is what it is. You know, it's kind of cute. There are some other brands that make some off brands on, I think, Amazon or probably AliExpress that do something similar, but I'm sure there are, actually I've seen. But let's open this up. And this, I'm not going to do the build because that's kind of boring, but we'll just get into this just to show you what's inside if you haven't cracked one of these open before. And I might need a blade. I think, wasn't there something here that was, oh, here we go. I think this is supposed to be a spot where you can see it's dotted and semi-perforated here. But it doesn't seem to work that well unless I'm just completely botching the way I'm supposed to open this. But no, it just, this thing just kind of keeps breaking at where it's supposed to pull apart. So then I gotta do it little by little, and I don't even think this is gonna get me there because it feels like it's only removing because there's still this here. Here's where it's gonna break, because you still have this clear piece underneath that you need to get through. Come on, see, it's just stupid. The perforations don't do much for giving you a clean separation here to open this up nice. It's a bit of a frustrating process, as you can see here. And the fact that I think there's two different points of break. One is for the outer, which has this image, and then the other is another piece of plastic. Why they need to double it, I don't know. And then just the quickest way to squeeze and it'll pop open. There you go. Parts, instruction. Oh, and there are little stickers too. That's cool. I guess to simulate the film roll. Interesting. I wonder if it does have actually like that one. There's a film in there, and well, funny. I don't know if this is really manual and automatic. I don't know if you would really have these modes and nighttime modes and stuff with an old style film camera. This is something more modern. I mean, back in the day, you just set the numbers and there you go, right? You just measure it out as you need to. Okay, so we'll see once I build this. This is very similar to the Lego one that I just showed you. They use a similar kind of wheel part to act as a lens. You can see it's very much designed the same, but that's fine. I'll compare this. I can gather from what I'm looking at, this is more accurate. Just the fact that they have like the shutter, like at least this is a mode dial. You would technically have like a shutter speed if it was a real, thing. This is a viewfinder, and I guess there's no digital back. Is there like a screen? I'm not sure what this opening is supposed to represent here, but let's build this and we'll take a look at it once it's done. Okay, so here it is, all finished. The way they have it, you build it, and it's all right. Let's bring the Lego one in for comparison. There's no hand strap with it like this one does, but that's okay. But pretty comparable, and in fact, an SLR is technically, I think, generally a little bit larger than a rangefinder camera, so it's kind of proportional, but none of these are truly in proportion with anything real. I would say there's a couple of things that I probably want to change on this. I'm not sure what this is. This looks like, it reminds me, I had an X100 Fujifilm. There was like a handle here that you could do to like flip over like the EVF. So I'm not sure if this is supposed to count as a flash or a viewfinder, like if it's a rangefinder. And I think this is supposed to be the viewfinder. Like you can't actually see through this. It's a solid. But if you were to look through this, you just look into either, if it's a real rangefinder, you'd look through an optical viewfinder. It'd be like a window here you could see through, and then there's going to be a patch here that another like opening, and it triangulates the image. It's a little bit complicated, but basically that's how you do a rangefinder. But if it's like an electronic one, you just have an EVF on the inside, and so yeah, you'd just see an electronically little screen on the inside when you look up close. But I think the only problem I have with this is that I don't think there's any that are in this style that have the viewfinder up, right up there. There will be a screen here too. But though this is supposed to be like a mechanical, that's why it's kind of a mixed bag of things. If it's mechanical, like a analog that uses film, as this is suggesting here, it's not digital. You would see the film go through here. This is how you would advance. Oh, gotta keep your finger on this, otherwise it would come off like that, and then close it. That's what you would do to advance the film after you take a picture. And you wouldn't really have like these. There should be a shutter control to control the speed versus like this automatic mode, manual, night mode. This is usually means that this can do video recording. This means it's in camera mode, and this means you can do a flash. But Yeah. Admittedly, this is more like for an automatic, completely automatic camera, um, or something digital even. So it's just, well, it's just meant to look like something old. So what I would do is, I think this should be moved over to this side, because I've had a lot of rangefinder style cameras, and they never have the EVF right in the viewfinder, right in the middle. It should be off to the side, just like that. That looks more correct. And what you would do is, why you have it, and some people like to use this, is that you keep usually your right eye over this, and then your left eye would look past it, and you can see things come in and out of frame a little bit better too. You just keep one eye open. It's not blocked by part of the camera view, or your eyes like you would on the DSLR, where your eyes would be here, and then like this part will probably block your left side of your eye, your left eye. So it's a little bit more obstructed. And why people like using rangefinders is that you can have, well, if you had the optical, you see right through it, but then you would have this much more peripheral vision to see right past the camera as well, to see, just get a better gauge of the scene. So I think that looks better like that. As far as this, I mean, I guess I can consider it part of the, if it is a rangefinder, it would look through here, although there should be like one more patch right in the middle that it would do that. Although this is not exactly in line with this. This should be really in the middle somewhere. But this is the closest position. Otherwise, going up here would be too high. And then if you were to have that rangefinder patch, it would be here. So you could take this, well, it's not really EVF, because if it was, that means it's digital, but then we have film here. So kind of at a conundrum. You just have to pretend that this is, I would say, a rangefinder style, and then ideally this would be shutter control or something, instead of like these different modes of shooting, which is more of an electronic digital camera thing. But overall, I mean, these compare pretty well and pretty nicely. It's just gonna be fun just to put up, and you know, they show off what, you know, it's supposed to be, and you know, it's decent representation, although not entirely accurate or makes sense. You know, you don't look too closely, it does, you know, it sells for what it's trying to represent. That's about it.